Spoken there. I haven't thought about flying for a long time. I haven't dreamed of that moment when I was alone above the clouds for a long time. I've dreamed of waking up in a room surrounded in blue and green grass for more years than I could dream of remembering. I haven't walked back into the past or scratched on the doors of my origins, where it all came from, since I held up that cape for the last time.
Return to Cape Town 10th Year Anniversary Edition is a revised version of Andy N's first poetry book. The book can be purchased from Amazon and it contains numerous additional material.
Spoken Label. Hi, it's Andy N from Spoken Label. Thank you today for streaming or downloading another episode of Spoken Label. Spoken Label was originally set up on beginning of 2016 and as of speaking has currently nearly 300 sessions. The full archive is available on Spoken Label bandcamp.com. Although it is available for free for stream and download if you wish, I am always grateful for any sort of kind of donation to enable me to keep the running costs of this podcast going. And enjoy. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house. We're on Zoom again today, quite local as well. I was debating at one point of meeting up with this gentleman in question because he doesn't live far from me, but it's a little bit earlier with lockdown still, so I think we'll do a live session with him some point later in the year or next year, definitely. Because we've got Jack Hornman with us today, aka Liam the Pig Farmer. Now, he's brilliant, Jack. Really, really good performance poet. And we've just been talking off mic before, Jack, weren't we, about your very first poetry reading, which was in my lot of Speakeasy. God, how many years ago was that, Jack?
2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, year before lockdown. I know people don't know this. You just told me, Jack, that was your first proper night, wasn't it? You did a little one in York, didn't you, just before?
Yeah, I did one with Say Out, just one poem as we went round as a round robin one Sunday afternoon. But apart from that, I got a flavour for it. And yours was the first one when I started looking online to where to do open mics to test some material. And yours came up and I came down from my house.
I remember it well because I remember it well with that one because you sent us a message through on this. We're going to have to go to your biographical details in a few minutes, but this is a good story. You sent through a message to us on the Speakeasy inbox on Facebook about half an hour before, and I just arrived, and you said I'd just seen it walking through, and I went through with Amanda and said, Amanda, we've got somebody called Jack wanting to read. And then they got to the bar and the barman said, oh, yeah, we've got some guy who wanted to read. And you're introducing yourselves to us. And you told me what name you wanted to read under. Then you told me another name half an hour later. Then you told Stevie, our MC, a third name. So we were completely confused that day. Well, it didn't put you off, mate.
I think because I go under my nickname all the time, and I've got an official name, and then my social media account was probably under a different name just because I just have the problem with social media of too many people knowing where I am and what I'm doing. There was like 3 names, and this was before Leon came up. So once I started performing under Leon, I had to just shed every other name because people were saying, what is your real name? What do we call you? And it was causing, at the time we were on a night out and meeting new people, it took longer to explain than it does to have a good general conversation with people.
Oh, no, I remember that well, but no, it was great fun. We really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed that set of yours there, mate. We did. You've gone from strength to strength, really. I've done just over 2 years, really, haven't you? So
yeah, it's been quite a steep trajectory.
God, yeah. Now, obviously, we're hinting at before, obviously. You're originally from the York area, your family, isn't it? So
yeah, they're all from the North Yorkshire moors, market towns, and just outside York. And I lived there for the first 17 years of my life.
Yeah, now you've got quite a major story here to answer yourself, and we're not even fast forward and get onto your poetry. But I know nowadays, obviously, living up Mosley Way. So when did you move to Mosley?
The early 2000s. I lived in Sale, funnily enough,
for
about 4 years when I first moved to Manchester in 98, 99. That's when I left the army, funnily enough. I did 10 years in the army, and I came over for work, and I literally moved to Sale on Washway Road, and I lived in a couple of places in Sale before moving up to the hills where I've lived for the last 17, 18 years now.
Yeah. What drew you to Mosley then? Because Mosley, if anyone knows Manchester, it's a lovely area, and I love the place.
Yeah.
But it's not an area that's, I don't think it's that well known, actually.
Yeah, even back then, there's a bit more now, but it wasn't a place you'd go, right, I'm going to move there. It seems to be a lot more people moving to the area now. Maybe I was a pioneer in moving to a new commuterville. I don't know, but I moved here because I had a friend that lived up here, and I'd been up here for like the Whit walks, the Whit Fridays, the bands, and I just loved it because it had that still had a sort of a Yorkshire feel to it. A lot of my friends around here won't like that because they're all said they were born on the Lancastrian side before borders moved. Because it's 3 counties, isn't it? Mosley's built up of 3 counties, and I still live in Roughtown, which is the Yorkshire part. And people, I just wind that out with people because they know you moved to Manchester and you're living in Lancashire. And I was Yorkshire. I still live in Roughtown, which is the historic county of Yorkshire. So, but yeah, a mate lived here. I moved up here. You got more bang for your buck on properties.
Bang for your buck,
that's it. And I loved it. I settled in, met loads of mates, and I've never left. I don't think you can leave once you come in.
No, you can't. You wouldn't know this. One of my best workmates or ex-workmates lives on the back of the co-op near your way.
Yeah.
So, and I've been up to his flat a couple of times, and every time I go up there, you always see them big fires on the moors up there, and you can see it really clearly.
Oh, yeah. Saves you putting your electricity on.
Oh, that's for sure of it. The last time I was up there, all you could see was like a thick cloud of soot flying up from the moors. Last year before last that wasn't. Crazy times. Anyway, mate, we're here today to talk about your poetry, really, aren't we? So
yeah, we are.
Now, did my memory correct? Did you? I think you were writing, weren't you, while you were in the army, weren't you? Or was it even before? But you seemed to jump a gear, didn't you? After you left the army.
I did, yeah. I'd always had an interest in musical lyrics because music's been my main passion, not playing, but listening and watching bands and things like that. I'd probably written bits down in the army, but never wrote anything in poetry or story form. And it was literally the 3-4 months before I did the speakeasy and got it that I started writing in a creative form. And it all came down to a breakdown and being diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. And it all got fed back once I started cognitive behavior therapy, that for years I'd been harboring a lot of horrible thoughts and trauma from situations in the army, from where I lived and worked. And it all came to it all culminated in one weekend flashpoint, and I had a proper breakdown, woke up in a horrible place. And one of the things I started doing was writing down all my thoughts, and it then came into poetry and spoken word form, I guess. And that's when I started taking it out and just speaking my thoughts at a few open mic nights, yours being the first.
Yeah, how have you found... Okay, the best way to put it be, obviously, Leon the Pig Farmer came along later on, where I'll come on to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But did you find that over time, has your approach to doing all these open mics and readings changed?
I think the problem we've had is we've had a year of lockdown, haven't we?
Yeah.
I did lots of them, and I approached them with them just because I didn't have material then. I just had writing in a form, and I didn't know what was good and what was bad. So it was good just to get anything I'd written out in that 4-6 minutes you get. And that more or less led up until just before lockdown. And then as I'd started performing sets and doing stuff with bands or on other nights, I found my approach to open mics had changed a little bit, i.e. that I'd recited and had a performance set, but it's a good place to test and use new writing and get feedback on any diversion or any sort of different way that you want to write and create and test yourself. So I found that, but then we went into lockdown and effectively we're just coming out. So I've not been doing the Zoom ones because I just don't get it. I just don't get the Zoom, and I like the social interaction. I like the banter, sat next to someone and having natters and seeing expressions and people walking about and fluttering through pages. And you don't get that. I think it's because I like live music that I like listening to live word. And I have the same problem with probably performing on it as I do listening to people on it. So
yeah, no, completely get you, mate.
So I think now we're out of lockdown. I've already started fishing on to see, and I've seen your events change the location. So I'm looking at that and looking at a few others, and I want to start getting back out and doing a load more of them because they're great fun and it's full. They're just creative hubs of you just talk to people and watching other people, and you pick up so many good points and iron out your bad points, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've done a fair whack on Zoom over the past year, but I've done it for the experience of hearing people in other countries and different areas, more that I would never meet. So I've gained a bit from that, but I can get what you mean. It's a different buzz altogether, and it's not for everybody. I know.
No, and I think because it's in your house and you're on a computer, you find an excuse not to do it, as opposed to picking your book up, getting on a train or getting in the car and tipping up and meeting new people for a social interaction. I made more of a conscious effort then, because I enjoy the social interaction of going into a cafe or a bar, nattering, and I've met some lovely people along the way, and I like that. And the speaking is clear, is a product, it's a byproduct of that, but it's the social side of it that I enjoy as much as I do getting up and doing me 4 to 6 minutes.
No, completely, mate. I agree with you. That's why we were looking at lockdown. Now, till this podcast goes live, we were just about being relaunching Speakeasy in July in Cholton. Now, but people, you're dead right of it. It's been a funny 18 months, really, for everybody.
Yeah.
It's been very, very strange, and it's going to be interesting to see where everybody goes with it. But yeah, right, Anil, Jack, I want to ask you about Leon the Pig Farmer.
Yeah.
Tell us about, I talked off mic, I know there's a film called that, which I've seen actually a while ago. And also there's a book, I think, as well. So what made you go for the alias, Leon the Pig Farmer?
A few reasons, really. First of all, when one of it, my mate had it as a nickname in the army, a lad called Jason. And I first heard his music, because bear in mind, when you were in the army, it was in the time of a lot of IRA were active in the UK, Germany and other places. And when you were out and about, you never told anyone you're a serviceman, and you never told a lot of people your real name, to be honest. So that's probably why I've got a book full of aliases. But it's, I remember him telling someone his name was Leon and that he was a pig farmer. He was a West Country lad and he had the accent. And it was quite commensurate, and he suited it in the early 90s. So he called himself Leon. And ever since, when we've had that conversation, we've always had a conversation about this third person. Like, oh, how's Leon? How's he doing? As if it's his alter ego. And he's gone, oh, yeah, Leon's fine. He's doing all right. And all this, like, that was a really bad West Country accent. I know.
It was that as well.
Yeah, it
makes me sound good.
Coming out, I'm thinking, nah, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, and it was initially because he had the name, but when you look into it and about what the film Leon the Pig Farmer's about, it's if no one knows, it's about 2 kids that were wrongly separated at birth in a hospital, and literally, he was the Jewish lad. His family died, and he inherited a pig farm, if I get this rightly. So a Jewish lad from London who's brought up in a very affluent family then gets sent, to Yorkshire, where he's literally been inherited into a pig farm. So that's where it comes from. And I think that kind of summed up my life to some extent, that I was like a fish out of water when I was in the army, and a couple of other things that a Jewish lad working and bringing up in a pig farm was quite similar to what I did, some of my army, and also in my views, and also in later professions that I did. So yeah, in a roundabout way, there's that reason as well. And it's about life when you're a duck out of water and you don't fit in and you don't feel certain things are right, and you make an effort to put on a face and a queasy S and try and conform to other elements of society. So there's them underlining messages. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough, and I can get completely on about that. So it's just like I said, I think everything you find is a journey and stuff like that. And like I said, it's best if you're gonna do it, just do it like you said, do the way you've done it there, and it just makes perfect sense that one straight away. So did you find when you adopted that persona that did you find when you adopted the persona, did you find that it gave you the freedom more of your work then? Did it like you could hide yourself on a mask wall?
Yeah, it did. And to bizarre to say, because PTSD that I had, I'd hidden away behind these masks, I then created a new mask, was quite ironic. But I was literally sat in a cafe in the Northern Quarter. My mate, who's a promoter, said, "Oh, I've seen some stuff you're doing. Now you've created stuff online. Will you come and support a couple of bands?" "Yeah." "What we're going to put you on the gig poster as?" I went, "Well, Jack Horner." He went, have you thought of having something like a stage name?" And I went, and then initially I thought of Attila the Stockbroker, who's a brilliant fella and who does music and spoken word. And I thought, oh, that'd be quite good, having something like that. So I went, Leon the Pig Farmer. He went, "Where's that come from?" And I just instinctively said it because it had the links to a friend in the army, and it had links to what I was thinking. And I went, yeah, just put it on as Leon the Pig Farmer. And then I just suddenly created this beast, for want of a better word, creative monster. And then a few other promoters put me on under that name. That was coming back up in probably about the September. And I just ran with it then. But it does, going back to what you said, it kind of it gives you a thing to go up on stage. And when you're bearing your heart and soul, because a lot of my stuff is around my PTSD and mental health, or it was initially, it kind of gave me that little cloak just to hide behind. And this is Leon the Pig Farmer telling Jack Horner's story, for want of a better word. So yeah, it does, and I think it gives you that sense just to be someone else.
Yeah, I think it does. Like it's people.
Character.
Same for me, really, because like it's obviously everyone knows me as Andy N. That isn't quite my name. Andy is, but the rest of it's not. Because it's just I need it for the shield sometimes for various reasons. That's why, and it's also I like the minimalism. In your case, like Liam the Pig Farmer is such an unusual tag. So have you had the people ever called you saying, "Hey, Mr. Pig Farmer, I love your stuff"?
No, I've had people shout me in the street going through Manchester, "Hey, Leon, I saw you the other night. It was great." I'm like, "Oh, okay. My name's not Leon." But yeah, it's like, "Oh, Leon," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's not my name. My name's Jack." But then if you really want to know the name's on my birth certificate, I'm going to confuse you. So. Yeah, and that was the problem I had with the book. It's like, do I put it as Leon the Pig Farm? I thought, no, I'll put it as my name because I'm really proud of it, and it's not about a performance. It's about the material. So that's why when I did the book, I kept it as Jack Horner, because it's not about the Leon stuff, which is as soon as you go on the stage, get a mic or have a book in front of you. So that was a different decision to make as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that really. You've done there, really. Like you're blurring the lines really between Leon the Pig Farmer and Jack Horner there, really, aren't you?
Yeah, I think they can cross over, because clearly I write the stuff.
You're the captain.
Horner gets his pen out and does the hard graph. So yeah, it was a decision that I made that, well, it's me, and these are my words, and the stories about the army. So all the stuff that's in the book is around PTSD and around my mental health journey and recovery journey. So it's only fair that my name went on the book. And there was a little tip of the hat to Leon in there about he's the one that shouts up and spouts up on a stage and swears, whereas there isn't any swearing in the book, I don't think. I think I took most of it out.
Ooh, censored yourself.
I am known to give a few expletives out, so...
I've heard you.
Yeah, to punctuate, they're purposely put in grammatically to punctuate, not to just annoy people. But yeah, there is one or two in there, because clearly I was very annoyed and very peed off with certain things in my life. So I did purposely put a few in. But I think
Brilliant.
I took a lot of them out of the book because I wanted to make it accessible for people more of all ages. And mental health does not just affect the old adult cantankerous amongst us.
No, okay, agree, mate. Now, you were talking about before where your journey as a writer has gone. You talked originally about all your PTSD, didn't you? So, yeah. And obviously, as your writing's developed, you've gone to cover other bases as well, really, I'm guessing as well now, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't like to think it's political, but I like to think that some of it is very much about social observation and just to raise the question and not sit on the fence or be a bit of a judge's advocate, really, and go, well, this is going on in the world. Have we thought about this, or have we thought about it in that way? So, and you can't help it when you switch your telly on and see what's on the news. So, and when I'm out and about, I keep my eyes and ears open, and I do commentate on what I see. So I do it quite jovially, like toilet walls in a pub, or what I hear on a tram or on a train, and the gossip which goes on and people's point of view. And I kind of put that into some word form as well, which I enjoy. and it lightens the shade on the stuff which is still a constant in my creative path, which is around my recovery. Because although on the outside and to the general public it looks like I've healed, you don't just heal 30 years of trauma in 2 years. So
possible.
I still get them dark days, I still get those night sweats, I still get them angry periods, and that still comes out in my writing, less often than what it used to, but it still does. But I think it's about lightening the shades, writing something more humorous or poignant or punchy, and still writing, even if it's a frustration and an anger, which has healed me a lot, to still keep writing, but flipping it over and seeing the funny side of life.
Yeah, no, I get it completely. Now, we're going to change gears here because I know we're really here today. We've touched on it, but not directly covered it yet. It's obviously about your debut book.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, Talking Myself Out of Trouble. Now, first of all, then, I love the title. Where did the title come from?
Just something I just made it up. I don't know. It was something that, like, when I always say, like, well, I've said to people, "Oh, how have you helped?" I goes, "Good. I've had therapy." Basically, I just talked myself out of trouble. I stopped myself going back into dark places. I stopped myself doing silly stuff around. I stopped myself having disassociation episodes. Through writing and talking, I've stopped myself getting angry, getting full of anxiety. All these things were troublesome in my life, and I just say, I just started talking. I just talk myself out of trouble now. Whereas the phrase is, people can talk themselves into trouble, or you can talk yourself out when it's relating to something else, like a conflict situation. So it was a constant phrase that I used, and it only made sense that because I was in a dark place up to 2 years ago, that once I started writing and then I started performing and doing spoken word, the talking seriously helped me get out of life's troubles. So that's it in a nutshell. That is the reason. The performing and talking is beyond doubt the best thing that ever happened to me in my recovery through PTSD.
I think this sort of bit of poet like that is great for self-therapy, certainly, because I started many years ago now, when I was a terrible time, I was younger doing it, and it got me through it. And then over time, I found I went different directions in writing, because obviously I've kept at it. I mean, it's the right way of doing it. That help yourself out, then it develops naturally, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I've tried not to do too much like workshop or creative researching, because I like to just find my own way, and I like making mistakes, and I like playing around with it and just juggling stuff about. And I don't like to stick to templates or a theory of how you should do it. It should be how you want to do it, because
it has to come from the heart. Every single writing, really.
No one tells someone how to paint a picture, so no one should tell you how to verbally write and paint the picture, should they? So I just kind of follow my own path and where I want to go with it, and mess about. And if I think of a different angle and how I want to write and present it, then I kind of do that.
Yeah, no, I'll get completely right. No, I agree with you. So, right, okay, there's a couple of things I want to conclude with in the chat bit. And the first one is about your, I presume we call it music. Anyway, music or experimental, your work with the dirt.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about that, because obviously I know there's two EP singles come out in this project. Where did this come from? It
came from, well, my partner, fiance, wife-to-be in 4 weeks is a very good musician. She's upstairs at the moment, funnily enough, with headphones on, playing a guitar with an amazing amount of loop pedals, effects pedals, and loop stations. And she's played in bands in Japan. And when I visited over there, she's shown me what she does. She's very much into prog rock, psychedelic stuff, and experimental music.
I got it straight away there.
There are 3 facets: reverb, psychedelic stuff, prog, or experimental stuff. And she was just up playing and making tunes. And I said, I could put words to that. And this was as lockdown first started, and we were just not going out as much. I said, shall we put some stuff together? So she went up into the spare room, started creating a few tracks on a recording system in the back bedroom. And then I picked an appropriate poem after listening to how dark, light, upbeat, or downbeat it was. I recorded some words on it. And I said, shall we put it out there, see if anyone likes it? I put it on Bandcamp. And she's like, yeah, okay then. So we did. And then she went back to Japan, and then next time we're in lockdown, we got offered to do a few gigs, but we couldn't do anything. So she went away, rehearsed the pieces. I kept the words. I've done them as performance pieces on my own, and there's 5 of them in the book. which I've done as like lyric sheets as the 30 poems that are in there. But it's something we're still doing. With she's created a soundscape for me with loads of pictures and imagery. So we still create and collaborate together. I think it's healthy. It's good.
It does. It's particularly if you're living with somebody you're living with somebody as a fellow creative, and I know from my partner Amanda, like we've done a couple of tracks together because I do ambient music myself. Nothing like what your soon-to-be wife does. When I first heard your EP, it made me think of have you heard of the band Melt Bananas?
No.
Japanese hardcore.
Right, okay.
With you
I'm
on
writing this down. Melt Bananas.
Melt Bananas, yeah. I saw them at the Deaf Institute a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Where they did something like 67 songs in a 45-minute set.
Ah, right.
And it was like front of it was not the heaviest gig I've been to. I think that was a Child Teenage Riot, but that was probably for the second one.
You see, I go watch a load of Japanese bands that like Borningen or Minami Deutsch, and they play 4 tracks in 45 minutes because mad instrumental guitars and keyboards. And so you get 4 songs, and it's like, right, okay, that's it, set over.
Yeah, but so Melt Banana, you get your value of money, 67 songs in 45 minutes.
Bang for your buck again, innit?
Yeah, they made me think of that when I heard it, and I thought, I've got to ask you about that. It was really good, the two EPs you've done so far on that. So.
Thank you. Yeah. We'll hopefully get out live and do it at some point. But we're looking at doing some other stuff, like doing some soundscapes and me putting some imagery together so we can do little film things to tell stories from the book and all that kind of thing. So it's just about enjoying it, isn't it? And opening up different corridors in your creative path. Because I've been very stifled over the years. And now that I've found that you can do whatever you want to do, that I'm just always on the think, and I think I tire her out by going, shall we do this? Shall we do that? Like, let me get my head around that one first.
There's nothing her admitting this, but Amanda approached me tonight just before I came in here. She's in the middle of some other big project. When she gets that done, she wants to sit down and wants me to do the music for a meditation CD for her, which she can narrate over the top of.
Ah, right.
And I don't know how that's going to be. That'll be an interesting experience for me. So I'm not that musically trained.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's why that's what you do. Like you're pushing boats all the time, and when you're with something like that, you don't know where it's going to go next. Sometimes.
No, you don't. I don't know where she's going next. And sometimes she'll be just banging a fretboard, and the next minute she'll be playing notes or a chord, and I'm like, let's just see what comes of it. You do what you do, and I'll see if I can layer some words on it, and let's see what mood it brings. It's great. I love it.
Oh, yeah, no, completely. No, good luck, man. Definitely. So now, obviously, we're going to get to the couple of things to conclude with on the chat there, mate. Is obviously you've got gigs coming up, haven't you? I know you've got your launch coming up at the end of May.
Yeah, it's this weekend coming.
Yeah, fortunately, this won't be out by then. But that I said is, tell us about the venue where that's going to be at then, because I want to hear a bit more about it.
It's a new place in Mosley that's opening up. It's above a bar called the Guillery. It all used to be the NatWest Bank, basically, near the train station.
And I know where that was. But I didn't know where this bar was. That's what you're
Yeah, literally when it closed the bank, downstairs there's a bar now, like a bistro bar, the Guillery, and above it there was a photography studio, and it's been took over by 2 lads. Tommy and James, and they've got a music recording studio in there. They've got a photography studio. It'll become a creative art hub in Mosley, and they're renting out spaces in it for. They've got their own like record label, and they've got their own production stuff going on, which comes under Now or Never Records, Wet Lemon Productions, and it all comes under Old Bank Studios. So I'm doing it in there, and we're going to live stream it, but it'll have been done by the time this comes out. But I think I'll be doing a lot more other collaborative stuff with them, because they're a couple of really good guys, and they've got some good vision to bring art into Tameside and Mosley. They're very into charitable stuff. They're very into the mental health journey, both having their own personal journeys, and they want to give back, and they're supporting me with my Emmaus journey, because I'm giving some of my money from the book to Emmaus.
Now, if anyone's wonders what Emmaus is, it's a fantastic charity.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I love that charity shop there. I'll let you tell people what Emmaus is very quickly, mate, because you know more. You do more than I do.
Yeah, Emmaus started in the UK. It was formed by a French guy. It was initially a Christian charity, but it's now this national charity in England. I think there's about 30 stores all over, and they basically take in a lot of second-hand product, and they have big charity second-hand superstores. They sell furniture, they sell bric-a-brac, they sell antiques, they sell upcycle stuff. They have a cafe. It's 2 floors of an Aladdin's Cave, and it's been in Mosley for years. I think that we're talking up to 27 years it's been in Mosley now. And they support the community. They give a bed for everybody, and they give everyone a reason to get out of bed. They give them a postcode, and these homeless people then get a trade, and they get a job to apply and go integrate back into the community after being homeless, which hits every button that I want to help with, because the main reason being mental health, but I think a lot of people do end up on the street through mental health or other personal circumstances. And I think if you can help people rehabilitate or get off the streets and get into full-time employment and engage in the communities, then they're doing everything right. So as soon as I knew I was writing the book, I said that once I'd covered everything, a proportion of the profits were going to go straight to Emmaus, and they gladly joined in with me forces. So Andy there and the people down there have gladly jumped on board, and they'll
fantastic place because
they need it more than me, to be fair.
I've been in there a few times, not since before lockdown. Last time was before lockdown, and I bought, when I moved into the place I'm at now, I bought a fair bit of furniture from there because it's quality material.
It's a great place for that. It's weird. I use it like a rental. I'll just take DVDs or music. I'll listen to them, and I'll give them it back so they can flog it to someone else. Or I've bought furniture from there and I've given them it back after a few years because it's brilliant. It's just, I just love the place, and I love the ethos behind it, and I love the community engagement and what they do and how they help people. It's brilliant. Same
for me as well. Now, obviously, back to you anyway, because we could praise them all day, and I would. I love that place. Love the place massively. Now, obviously, you're also involved in a festival coming up in July, aren't you?
I am. I'm a back seat in that, really, because the local councillors and local premises and Emmaus and the studios above are driving a local arts festival in Mosley to do with very much around folk, acoustic guitars, art clashes, and the spoken word. They're very much behind that. And one of the town councillors is very much into the spoken word. So they asked me if I'd get involved yet. So I basically cascaded every contact I had to get everybody I know to come and do a set. So hopefully the 9th, 10th and 11th of July, we're going to be having a bit of a get together around the arts, like a fringe style thing going on.
Should be great fun. Should be great fun. Because I know me and Amanda have got a name down for it. So let's fingers crossed.
Yeah, hopefully. But as far as I'm aware, they're speaking to the council. That's still going to go ahead around Emmaus, around the Guillory, around the Old Bank Studios, and not sure who else is involved. But
definitely.
It'll be great. I think Tameside, and especially we're living in Mosley. I can only speak for Mosley personally, but I've only been speaking about it today. There is so many creative people in not the mainstream, but the underground, from whether it be spoken word as musicians. Nearly everyone you see walks around with a guitar or an instrument on the back, and it's a great little place, and I think it deserves to have a little stamp on the map.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you, mate. Now, to conclude, obviously, though, people are wondering, first of all, where you can get your book from.
Yep.
I know I've seen it listed on Lulu quite clearly, so you can easily pick it up on Lulu.
Your recommendation.
Yeah, my recommendation. Yeah, I love you.
As soon as we got into lockdown, I went, right, I'm going to I can't go performing. I need to do something. So I'm going to put my book. And I remember messaging you, going, where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah, you asked me.
Not only am I new to writing and speaking, but I'm getting above my station, and I'm going to start writing a book less than a year into my journey. So I need help. I don't even know where to start. So you mentioned, I remember you mentioning Lulu, and I looked at it, and it was right up my street. It was good. And I've had a couple of friends on board with me. The artist, Phil Wagstaff, and my mate, Steve Riley, who does all the digital stuff, because I'd have been lost without him, because it's like,
they've done a good job.
I can type them, but when you do the other business, it's like nuts. But yeah, it's on Lulu, and it's available through me. And I think it's going out to all other online digital places. But I sell them on my website if people contact me, and I always have a box of them. I always have a few in my satchel when I'm walking around everywhere. So
yeah, I'll buy one off you next time I see you, mate. No problem with that one. So definitely. So I know people who want to know your website is. I think I've got this right. It's thepigfarmer.art, isn't it?
It is.
See, look at that. See, I know what I do. My research. I do.
You did it, yeah.
And also, you can also find you on, I'm not right, this I haven't wrote down, but I know you're on Facebook as well, aren't you?
Facebook is at Leon the Pig Farmer. I'm on Instagram as Leon TPF71. And I'm on Twitter as Leon_pig.
See, busy man. So you're always worth checking him out. So brilliant today, Jack. Been a pleasure this, mate. So let's get on to some poetry for you then, mate. So, right, we'll take a quick break, everybody. Let Jack get himself composed and he'll be back in a minute with me. See you in a minute, guys.
Spoken, mate.
Hi, guys. Okie dokie. Straight over to Jack. Go for it, buddy.
Hello, I'm Jack Horner, and yeah, I am also known as Leon the Pig Farmer. So there may be the odd swearing. I'll try and keep them out since we recorded. So let's go. These are all from my book, Talking Myself Out of Trouble. The first one is called Parole, and it says what it is on the tin. It's me being given another chance. I was the professor of sin. I was a light-footed tiptoe man. I was the abandonment of all hope, and I flew in reverse. I avoided the rope. You see, I was a life raft, shaky and deflated. I was an ego that was self-created. I was a fifth gear of steam machine. I was a psychology stamp and dream. See, I was great getting in. I was crap getting out. There was twisters, hurricanes, electric clouds. There was rain and sun all in a day. They see there's no pot of gold because my rainbow's grey. But then why do I sit in the unfurnished room? The lights are off and I'm holding balloons. Why did I stand on a rocking chair? They see the blankets discarded and there's a chill in the air. Because I'm the man in the mirror. I am a self-deceiver. I am the destiny creator and I am a self-hater. Yes, I am socially responsive. No, because I'm surging negative. I was master of self-flagellation. I've got convictions for manipulation. I wore a plastic veil to hide the stare. I stood in the hall of a badger's lair. I climbed the trees. I lay in the hay. A schoolboy error. It was the price I paid. I was sentenced to gutters with time served. 1 in a million, the door is jarred. Tectonic shudders set me free. They let me breathe and made me believe. You see, I'm leaving this Hibernian land. I'm treading in grains of volcanic sand. You know, there's only a space and a comma between man's laughter and man's slaughter. Because I am the whisper man. There is no more catch me if you can. I'm no longer a theatre projectionist. There's no smoke and mirrors or blue mist. Because I can now see your eyes, they're bulging with confusion, misunderstanding, my recent corrosion. My lock is broken, the chains are removed, my storm has passed. You see, they've got nothing to prove. So you go ahead and scream your siren. Flash blue lights, you hide behind them. Go blow your whistles, muster your troops. You see, people look different when speaking the truth. Thank you, that is Parole.
Brilliant. Great start, mate. Powerful, mate, as always.
Thank you. Okay, the next one that I'm going to do is called The Beat Goes On, and it's about panic attacks in the middle of the night, and the last lines are literally about me being an ex-army and the post box on Corporation Street that was bombed by the IRA in the mid-90s, and it's a note to that. Shapeshifters lingered on my stairs, they crawl the walls, now I don't care. Techno filled my darkened room, but now I dance to my own tune. See, there was a silent disco in my head, and it thumped and pumped in my dank rank bed. A sugar-coated little dancers, they flipped me over to a new beat master. 28 little ones lying in the bed, and roll over, the demon said. I stamped my feet, I cleared the clouds, and you see, I've got no more dreams when I'm dressed in shrouds. Doctors, medics, they suggested more. See, I ain't no pill-popping pharmacy whore, and I want to alight the prescription train and board one soulful, avoid this rain. I cut and paste all my signs, I juggle the jingles in my mind. I changed the reel to suit the suit. I'm going to bring it all back to a brand new juncture. See, I'll show you a circle with a cross. It's a 4-track single that explains my loss. A grounding mantra on side B and on side A, you can smell the sleeve. A melancholy tune to hide the tears. I beat the fun drum to please the peers. I sold all anthems belonging to me. Now I'm going to reclaim my identity. So restart my heart with about 120. Staying alive, because in life there's plenty. Press my chest, feel the beat. You see, I'm that road rest post boxing Corporation Street. So you can bomb. You can shoot, you can mortar, you can even spit at me, but I will never, ever admit defeat. Thank you. That is The Beat Goes On.
Fantastic.
This next one is called A Monkey Can Fall From a Tree. And this is a Japanese proverb, and there is a Japanese line in it, which is Sarumoki Kara Ochiru, which I learned from my future wife. And it literally means a monkey can fall from a tree, so anyone can mess up. And it was a message to myself and to anyone else, really, that pick yourself up. if a monkey can fall from a tree, then any of us can mess up in life. So that's kind of what it's about. There's that geezer with a long leather coat, a red paisley bandana covering his throat. He wears a tilted trilby with his eyes so vicious, yea, and he lurks in the corners of my subconscious. He's a waiter to the world of my emotional dysfunction. He serves ready meals to my personal destruction. I accept his twisted, malevolent suggestion, and I dine on the guilt with a bottle of correction. You see, so when did I let him decide? Did I wait for the bill to restore my pride? His menu reads like an old damaged story with every attempt to remove my life's glory. You see, but this is Twilight Crazy Town. Why should I now pay with my voice and sound? I dig deep and I delve into my 9s out of 10s and a 3-course thought to feelings and to actions, and I will win. But I stop and I reflect and I don't collaborate or even reject. I'm intrusive. I ask my thoughts why and I don't contemplate, and I'm not listening to lies. So do they serve you? Do they get in the way? Do they deserve you? Can these thoughts stay? But don't be ashamed of what you've done. Be punching proud of what you've become. I'm confronting stories of a tiger and hunter, of mice and honey, and they make me wonder. There's a pauper farmer and a broken son. There's stories of wild horses and what the army just done. I'll fold paper into fighter planes because they're flying fox to help, not blame. I won't let the cash cow grind me down. I'm going to take back this orb and the thornless crown. You see, I'll pour water on your flames of suppression. I'll pour petrol on hopes so they burn with passion. I'm going to restore cracks with glistening gold. They're all unique histories and a story to be told. Because you see, the Reaper is sitting with a rusty blade. He's frowning and cowering because our futures are made. So here is a message I give to you. Saromoki kara achiru. Because even a monkey falls from a tree. Even my monkey fell from a tree. Even I fell from a tree. So remember, even you could fall from that tree. Thank you. That's even a monkey falls from a tree.
I like the repetition at the end of that one, actually, mate. That's a really powerful piece.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mantra that at the end that it's, and I like to get the message to myself as like, yeah, we can all mess up, but at the end of the day, everyone can. It's
you can easily definitely agree with you completely with that one, mate.
It's not a negative in life. It's just how we pick ourselves up and climb back, I guess.
Yeah, agree completely, mate. So, right, okay. What do you reckon? 2 more?
2 more? Okay. Yeah. This one's called Flashback, and I wrote it when I walked up near mine at Saddleworth Moor. Literally, it's a story about, I turned around and I was out with a mate photographer and his lens reflected in my face, and I had a PTSD episode where I fell to the floor because I thought it was a sight from a sniper rifle, and an helicopter went over my head, and I literally shit myself. So, and then I realised I had problems still, so I needed to just keep working. So it's called Flashback. I'm stranded on a newfound path. It's a short, sharp reminder to the aftermath. The helicopter hovered in Burnt Peat Hills, so I stopped this toxic, traumatic treadmill. The castle and the quarry to the reservoir. This is reminiscent of the Romeos in South Armagh. I drop, I drift to a rancid reflection, and it's time to decide with identity correction. There's smokescreen mirrors and a voice to muzzle. The jigsaw pieces will solve the puzzle. I look straight down, but my boots are now brown, and I pivot to a lens, and there's no sniper found. I handrail fences free from wires, no 3-coloured cloth to fuel the fire. I'm now hands-free, I'm not shackled to the metal, and the weight on my shoulders is now light as a petal. There's no chimp on my back to make me crack. No smile from a joker to cut the slack. No wait-out call from another mum's son, and the hills, they don't have eyes. I'm back to the old wooden ones. So I escape this portal of travelling in time. There's no contact call that's going to blow my mind. I look to the pike and the pots and pans. There's no need for Winthrop around these farms. I stare to the border of the White Rose land. No threat or thirst or hate demand. I drop my shoulders and I jump the ditch, and I murder the miles and I forget the itch. I'm safe in the thought of the dampened ashes. I command the ground and the Indian's feathers. A skeleton ghost that turned me to stone. It's now given me the key to live and learn. That's the Flashback. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Great one. Right, well, as I always say, spoken label now. If I had a trumpet, I could play it. We'd be playing the trumpet now for you to give you the big finale, mate, but I can't do that. So.
and this one is usually my sweary, shouty one, but I'm going to keep it tame because we don't know who's going to be listening when it's on. And it's called Devil in My Shoes. So it goes like, my heart is now presented without a black and tortured soul, and I'm instructing Lucifer to go and ride on home. I'll unhinge, remove myself from the ebony cross. I'll extract his nails one by one, and my hands are held aloft. So come on then, Diablo, let your dog off the leash. I'm going to stare into its gaping jaws and break its bloody teeth. The black sheep fingers are burned, my hand still placed on a trigger. So you're a darkened silhouette and a lonely standing figure. See, I'm onto you, old Nick. I'm not afraid of this. I'm going to grip you. I'll choke you. I'll silence your snake hiss. I'm going to drag you from my party and vanquish you because this is my life. And you think you can extinguish my candle in the night? So there you sit, Darkened Prince. You think you can shine brighter? Well, I'm the fierce dog now. I'm a battler and I'm a fighter. And I will not be imprisoned or suffer in a golden silence. My cemetery gates are ripped open. Yeah, and I'm going to dance without a shyness. So here we are then, Baphomet. You've played your final ace. I'm healing, you're deceiving, and I spit in your face because you can't walk in my shoes. You sink below the water, and so you're nothing but the lamb that I'm now sending to the slaughter. That's the devil in my shoes. Thank you.
Brilliant. Great way of finishing off that, Jack. Brilliant one, mate. So, a great session today. I've really enjoyed it. We could put a good catch up, mate, because people won't know, as I said, we do talk a bit, don't we? And it's like,
we do, yeah.
Yeah, it's great to be great to actually sit down and have a good prolonged chat with someone I call a mate, really. That's why. So, be great, mate. So, right, well, that's it, guys and girls. So, it's been a pleasure today, Jack. I've really enjoyed it,
Thank
mate.
you very much for having me. And anyone that's tuning in, thank you very much for listening. And yeah, come and find me sometime.
Yeah, come and check him out. It's always well worth it, Jack. Always found him approachable. Don't shout Leon to him when he walks in Manchester Piccadilly.
I'll turn around more than my birth name now to Leon. It's become like my second name. So yeah. Shout Leon. Brilliant, mate. Somewhere in a bobble hat. I always wear bobble hats.
Even if it's 30 odd degrees, you still get your bobble hat on, haven't you?
Yeah.
I've seen you with it on before. Right, I know. Pleasure, mate. So hang around. Need to quit you off mic anyway. So, but as Don Callis says at Impact Wrestling, stay safe and stay over. And we'll see you.
Thank you very much, mate.
Spoken, mate.